So without further ado, let me hand you over to Steve and Roger. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, JJ. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve.
And I'm Roger, just to say hello. Thank you for that introduction, JJ. You sort of summed it up, really. I just wanted to place why there's not just myself standing here or Steve standing there. We stand together. We've been in business together for about 13, 14 years. We had good careers, lots of highs, lots of lows, lots of injuries, but ultimately, I think we look back and we know that we were able to deliver on the most important stage of all, the Olympics, when it mattered. But we never had the clarity that we had as athletes. As athletes, you know exactly what you're good at, what you've got to achieve, what you've got to do. It's a lovely mindset for high performance. That as individuals speaking on the corporate circuit, we do our hour, which was fantastic, and we will always do it, and we love it. But we always felt there was more we could do to translate some of our learnings and our messages into the workplace. And we knew to do that, we had to join together and we had to create more than just a 1 hour presentation. But so now at Backley Black, we do the motivational presentations, but alongside our team of corporate trainers, not sports people. So today is to sort of give you a taste of what we do, but also talk to you about what we're doing right now to adapt to this current environment.
You know, Roger and I have a similar backstory. Even though I threw javelins and Roger ran 400 meters, our backstories, I think, glued us together in retirement because we both went through adversity. So it's a bit of a misconception, we believe, that talent can take you all the way to the top. Well, you know, everyone at the Olympics is talented. So to differentiate yourself, it has to come back to the mindset. So in retirement, our fascination was, what is the difference between the people who not only optimize their abilities, but they have a sustained performance, even through adversity, which has been mentioned already. Sports people go on a journey, they try, they have a passion, they have a dream. But at some point, they will fail. They will fail. And it's right there in that moment that champions are potentially born, because right there in that moment, many people give up. Many people don't reinvent themselves. Many people don't adapt. So the process carries on. You try, you fail, you learn, and you adapt. And drill down into what we believe to be the non-negotiable aspects that are consistent among performers at the highest level in sport. And what we've done is we've lifted those, and we use this structure that we're about to share with you as a kind of a framework to introduce and share the topics. But just for now, we'd like to introduce these 5 non-negotiable aspects of performance.
Okay, so hopefully there we go. This is our sort of model. You can see it's it's a nice sort of ringed theme with the Olympics, and oh look, it looks like a running track. So there you go. But these were the 5. Ultimately, we came to the conclusion: if you haven't got these 5, you know, not one of them, you're going to have all 5 of these. You're going to struggle at the Olympic level. You really are. People have not stopped at any point and thought, why am I doing what I'm doing? They've just done it and been very successful. And that's why the first one, which we call finding your passion, we think is crucial. You know, not just because I'm good at it, there has to be a bigger why. If you don't absolutely know why you're there and what this really means to you, rather than something you're just good at, you're going to get found out.
And moving left to right across the screen there, you can see the second trait is to create empowering belief. If you don't have an unflappable, unequivocal self-belief, you will fail. Your cracks will appear, and the pressure of that situation will unravel you. So the key word in that second trait is actually create. We can develop this. We can create the habits. We can take control of that internal dialogue that develops that self-belief. But moving across again into the third trait of power through clarity. And it's such an easy thing to say and such a difficult thing to do when the environment is changing. And, you know, we've seen change on an unprecedented level recently, of course, but it's the people who retain clarity and have that flexibility and agility.
The fourth trait is what we call surrounding yourself with talent. I had a training partner throughout my athletic career. His name was Chris Akabusi. We realized that it was our differences that made us unique, but it was our similarities that made us champions. But the fact is, without Chris, I wouldn't have achieved half the things I did throughout my athletic career.
But to move on to the final trait is to deliver your maximum. So this is actually the big one for me. I'm quite passionate about this particular trait. And I was fortunate that I had an amazing coach My first amazing coach was my dad. And my dad did something that I now recognize as such an important principle in terms of coaching and nurturing somebody's development. Because what he did is we used to jump over the fence opposite where we used to live. I was about 14 years old at this time. I had my Javlin from the local athletics club that I borrowed, and we jumped over this fence, and my dad would scratch a line with his foot in the grass on the field. Then he'd step out about 25 meters, nothing, a quarter of or a third of what I would eventually throw, and he'd take a stick, he'd break a stick from the tree, and he'd stick the stick in the ground. He knew just where to put it that was kind of just out of reach. And he did the most wonderful thing as a coach. He stepped back and he said, "Go on then." Genius. Absolutely brilliant. Because in fact, what he was doing was giving me the space. He was giving me the opportunity to explore my potential, look for solutions. He gave me the platform to go after that. And then it might take me 5 minutes. It might take me an hour. It might take me a week to get past that stick. But when I got past the stick, he did something even more clever. He moved it just out of reach. About a year later, climbing a tree at the end of that field that was 78 meters away, we measured it, 3 times the distance. And I remember climbing the tree because I had to retrieve the Javlin. I remember shouting down to my dad, "Dad, we're going to have to find a bigger field." And we did. And I think this is where we acknowledge the difference between just believing and really believing. And it took me on a momentum. And you hear that word a lot when Roger and I do our presentations, momentum and creating momentum. I took that momentum into the off season, trained with even more passion, more belief. And early the following summer, something pretty amazing happened. So I'm going to show you a video now. This is a really old video.
115, Steve Backley, 6'5", Cambridge Harrier. The world's #1 last year, throwing on the home patch of Patrick Bowden, the Swede who's taken the world record in the off-season. The Commonwealth champion. He's in great form. The United Kingdom record holder with 88.46. This is first attempt. It looks slow, but it was a lashing of the arm that sends it way, way out. What a throw. What a throw from Backley. It's way over 85 meters. That might even be historic. Backley eased into that and then lashed it with his mighty big arm. And what a javelin competition we've got here. Watch this fella throw. He's now chasing a world record of 89.10, and the fella that set it is standing next to him. And look at that for a launch. An astonishing opening throw. All eyes are on the scoreboard now. It's there! Backley's leaping in the air. 89.58, a new world record. And that's his opening throw.
You might be surprised to hear, actually, it wasn't long after that experience. In fact, I broke the world record again that summer. I was crowned World Athlete of the Year. But it wasn't long after that summer, with reflection at least, that I acknowledge now that I, in fact, began to fail. The reason I began to fail is that I didn't have a plan that went beyond being the best in the world. Climbing that metaphoric mountain was clear. You know, I could see where the peak was. I went in pursuit of beating other people. I'm going to kind of edit the rest of that story just for time's sake, but I think it's such an important principle of how I then fixed that, because it was going back to that stick in the field, the simplicity of where am I now, moving it down the field, which gave me the opportunity to, I dug these out very quickly because JJ mentioned them, but 3 Olympic medals that I was able to achieve across the next 12 years because of that principle of going back to basics and learning how to kind of just keep edging forward, and audacious dreams can come as a result of tiny footsteps.
I always love listening to that story. Whenever, and for me, the first time I heard it, the big learning for me is that when Steve says, you see the picture of someone, the video of someone throwing a world record, and then they say, and that's when I started to fail. And I think that's so true. And we found that in business. When things are going well, you've got to be careful because that's when you might start to fail. There's no room for complacency in high performance in sport, and we think it's the same in business. We are storytellers. People bring us in to tell stories, but what we try to do is to not just tell the stories, we try to then translate those stories, and hopefully some of that's coming through. It's not just this is what I did, how great I am, this is what you need to do. My greatest achievement was in 1996 winning the Olympic silver medal in the 400 metres at the Olympic Games in Atlanta, where I came second to one of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen, the American sprinter Michael Johnson. In his gold shoes, I wasn't going to beat him. I did run my perfect race, and there's no doubt that my Olympic silver medal that day is an Olympic gold medal to me. But I was very fortunate. I also got to be part of the team. I had an experience back in 1991 with a British relay team that made a little bit of British sporting history. The British team then was myself. You can see me there. I was the fastest runner in the team. I just won a silver medal in the 400 metres individually, and it was my one regret. I just missed out. I should have won gold medal. I missed it by 200ths of a second, but I was the fastest runner in the team. Then it kind of went downhill because the guy next to me, to my right, as you're looking to my left at the end, it was a guy called Derek Redmond, the most talented British athlete I've ever raced against, but somebody who had a lot of injury problems. Then we had a guy called John Regis, who's the other side of me. And then at the end is my mate, Chris Akabusi. Now, Chris Akabusi was a bronze medalist in the 400-metre hurdles at those World Championships. To be honest with you, he was a bit of an old duffer. He was getting on, coming towards the end of his career. But nobody had more experience than Chris did at running the relay. Very quickly, I want to tell you the story, because within the story I'm about to tell, there have been lessons in this story that have stayed with me, and I apply in my business and entrepreneurial life all the time, one in particular. When you choose the running order for a relay team, it was very, very simple. Every team in the world had the same formula. There was a winning formula. It was conventional thinking. Quite simply, you put your best athlete on the last leg, you put an okay athlete on the first leg, and then you chuck the other two in the middle. So the team management said, well, Roger, you're the fastest, you're going to go last. Derek, you're going to go first. Chris, you go second. John, you go third. Off you go, chaps. Go and do it for Britain. It was straightforward. Now, when you're the fastest runner in the team, you never go first. Nobody ever wants to run first. I won't go into the details, but it is a rubbish leg to run. But I knew that I had to put my ego to one side for the greater good of the team. So I was to go first, hand over to our second fastest runner, Derek Redmond, to keep us in contention, but more importantly, to give the Americans something to think about. Because when you're running and somebody's either right ahead of you or right behind you, you're unable to just focus on the open track. We had to put them under pressure every step of the way. He would then hand over on the third lap to big John Regis, and then he would hand over to Chris Akabusi on the last leg. There was method behind our madness. Chris and I made that decision that evening. And you look back now and you realise what actually was quite a simple decision created a massive result. Because what we did was we completely challenged what everyone else had up to that point had done. You never put your best athlete on the first lap. And I'm so lucky to have been part of this moment in sporting history. So have a look at this race.
The wind freshening as they get away, and Roger Black in lane number 3 goes straight away, closes right down on the Jamaican. The American Valmont has started fast as well. Into the back straight though, it's Black at this stage who's cut right back on the Jamaican Pat O'Connor. Also going well is Valmont of America, and right on the outside, Kitur of Kenya. The first leg run in lanes and the first bend of the second leg, and then they can break. The stagger and winds, we'll begin to see how they sort it out. But the important point is the breaking point on the second leg at the beginning of the back straight. Black has done a good one, but so too has Valmont. But Black on the inside is closing him down all the time. At the handoff point, well, it's very close between America and Great Britain, but I think Great Britain have just got the edge. Derek Redmond now, the UK record holder from Birchfield on the second leg. Quincy Watts going for America. Black 44.6 on the first leg, that's some run. And Britain got the lead they wanted. They've now got to start increasing it because they've got to give Akabusi a healthy start on the anchor leg. Derek Redmond being chased by the teenage Quincy Watts and caught by the American. But has Redmond saved something? Battling down the straight. It's a brilliant leg by the American youngster. Quincy Watts has got America right back in, and has the British gamble failed? John Regis on the third leg, and he's chasing Danny Everett. The time for Redmond, 44.1, so Watts run a stormer. John Regis, inexperienced at this distance, right behind the World Championship bronze medalist. Everett. When will Regis attack? Has he got the ability to attack? A seasoned 400-meter runner. Regis comparatively inexperienced. And Everett stretching slightly away. Regis comes wide to have a go. And Regis can't quite get there. America will take over in the lead with their world champion pedigree on the anchor leg. Akabusi goes after him. The difference is 3 meters. Now Akabusi has got to sit there and wait and make a late attack if he can. But he's up against the man who is the world champion. The race between the two of them, and the leg by Regis, 44.3. And still Akabusi waits. Pettigrew with goal behind him in the individual event. Akabusi, bronze in the 400 hurdles. Here he goes. This is the important point. Can Akabusi do it? Akabusi has a go, and the American is beaten. And he's fighting back. Akabusi has made it. Akabusi, gold for Britain. America second, and Jamaica third. And the time, 2:57.54. A new British, a new Commonwealth, a new European record, and the gamble paid off.
Fantastic moment. I hope you enjoyed that. I never tire of seeing that race. That image actually that you're seeing now, I think is become even more important and poignant because of what's happening at the moment. And my relationship with those other 3 guys is as strong now, if not stronger, than it was all those years ago. What I learned from that race was very simple, is that if you think you found a winning formula, you are about to get beaten. If you want to move to the next level, you have to challenge convention.
Yeah, thanks, Rog. So the new product has taken us a couple of months to build it. It's called mind setting. So the idea is that a user can watch a video, but at the end of each video, they're encouraged to take on a practice. We introduce a principle. There are 20 of them under 5 headings. In fact, we've got a screenshot to introduce you to what the topics are. But the 5 headings on the left of the screen, that's the process. Within each heading, there's 4 videos that takes you through the program. There's the list on the right-hand side of the screen that takes you through the fundamentals. I don't think there's anything too contentious there in terms of the aspects, the insights that we introduce. So we're happy to share that with you. We feel that we've captured a lot of the key principles, and hopefully it's in a medium that is palatable and one that will allow people to really translate into their own worlds and help in any way that we can.
Right.
Cheers, guys.